Adelaide, South Australia, addressed to Stephen Marshall, Peter Malinauskas, the Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and the rest of you that have endorsed and enforced this new normal that has devastated our economy, the livelihoods and the well-being of the Australian people. As I value my privacy, I do not feel comfortable to expose myself in this way, but you all have left me no other choice. You had no right to get me up to this point. I had to be going on with my day-to-day life, and you had to be doing your jobs, ensuring our prosperity and well-being. As that is not the case, here we are. It is alleged that the majority of the politicians, public officials, health experts and others that have endorsed and enforced restrictions to our freedoms and specific medical treatments, enforcing mandates and punishment to anyone that has a different opinion to theirs, have a conflict of interest, as they are connected in one way or the other to the pharmaceutical companies, and therefore profiting to the expense of the Australian people. It is alleged that others of you have been threatened with the loss of your jobs, your prestigious lifestyle, or have a shady past and are forced to follow this narrative, or else you will be exposed. Also, it is alleged that the medical treatments that you are enforcing upon the general population could be harmful, making your solution in the near future much worse from the actual problem. There is much information out there from independent researchers, doctors and scientists that contradict the course of actions you have taken. This information has been censored by the mainstream media and the social media platforms, and it is alleged that you deliberately have ignored genuine concerns and independent scientific data, that if you had taken on board, your response and actions to this crisis could have been much different. For that reason, and for the record for future use, I'm presenting to you today the website offtherecord.news. This site was created by Adelaide business owners during the lockdowns and all the restrictions you have submitted us to. It hosts the censored and deleted information by the big tech and the social media platforms. Important information by researchers, doctors and scientists that now publicly I'm challenging you to see and respond to, though I know you won't. The creators of this site, due to your actions, have now lost their businesses and have been left with nothing. That did not deter them to continue researching and update the site up to today. Now, any person with some life experience and common sense, seeing this information, clearly withdraw the conclusion that something is very wrong here. He would draw the conclusion that your skills as politicians do not meet the requirements of the job, as you did not take this information in consideration. You did not get a second opinion. You have denied to look into both points of view, though that would have been the reasonable and responsible thing to do before getting into any conclusion, endorsing any policies and actions that you have taken, actions that have devastated the economy and the livelihoods of the Australian people. I will not go into any specifics about this information or concerns we have, as this time has been long gone, and it's useless as you have been following a blueprint to avoid independent scientific data and acknowledge the existence of this data. This site includes an information about the politics of this crisis, where this crisis could have started from. Videos from hearings placed in the United States Congress in Washington, D.C. The speakers in debate are senators like John Paul and other public officials, health experts, and Anthony Fauci, that has been openly accused for dangerous experiments. In these hearings, it has been established and admissions have been made about dangerous experiments with viruses that do not exist in the natural world but are created in labs for the sole purpose of making them highly transmissible and infectious to humans. These viruses have various infecting rates and can be used in warfare or to create a future pandemic. Having this information, no one can deny the possibility that these viruses could have been used in the past or can be used to create a pandemic in the future. Any person with common sense would consider this possibility, and in no way he would reject it.
I don't expect you today to admit that you approved of NIH funding for gain-of-function research in Wuhan, but your repeated denials have worn thin, and a majority of Americans, frankly, don't believe you. Even the NIH now admits that EcoHealth Alliance did perform experiments in Wuhan that created viruses not found in nature that actually did gain in lethality. These experiments combine genetic information from different coronaviruses that infect animals but not humans to create novel artificial viruses able to infect human cells. Viruses that in nature only infect animals were manipulated in the Wuhan lab to gain the function of infecting humans. Because gain-of-function research with laboratory-created viruses not found in nature could cause a pandemic even worse the next time. We're suffering today from one that has a mortality of approximately 1%. They're experimenting with viruses that have mortalities of between 15 and 50%. Experiments that combine unknown viruses with coronaviruses that have as much as 50% mortality could endanger civilization as we know it. And here you sit, unwilling to accept any responsibility for the current pandemic and unwilling to take any steps to prevent gain-of-function research from possibly unleashing an even more deadly virus. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain-of-function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic. All the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
The last 2 years, I, as many others, have researched and have found contradicting information about your policies and your response to this crisis. A response that surely you're well aware has devastated the majority of the Australian people. I'm confident by now all of you are aware about this data that contradicts the narrative that you are imposing to us. But you have chosen to ignore it, defame people with genuine concerns, naming them in a way that suggests is done deliberately to undermine the importance of this information. If you had not done this and had looked into things objectively with no self-interest in mind, I am confident that you would have changed your views and your response to this crisis. Accordingly to these doctors and scientists, you are denying Australians of any prevention medication and other treatments that exist. Treatments that cost less than $3 a day, that can prevent and treat a patient before he gets seriously ill. On the other hand, you are promoting masks, tests, and these injections that costs us billions, moving an enormous portion of Australia's wealth overseas, and as it seems, in your pockets. You are ignoring people's concerns and enforcing your narrative, no questions asked. This approach gives the impression that you have endorsed an agenda that clearly you have not disclosed to the general public. And no matter what, you're just going for it. You are treating people as they are crazy conspiracy theorists, and at the same time, you deny looking into things. I'm not saying that there are no fictional opinions and disturbed people out there. What I'm saying is that it seems intentionally you are throwing everyone in the same pot. You're blaming people for researching, thinking for themselves, for having a different opinion, as they are taking in consideration information that you are not. If there are people out there that do not believe in you, do not trust you, you are the only ones to blame, not them, as you have failed to hear them out. Look into things with no prejudice, objectively, and most importantly, give answers for every single one of these findings and concerns. I'm a person that by nature likes to ask questions, research, investigate, and solve problems. I believe in democracy and would have expected you to be transparent and discuss every single aspect of any independent contradicting scientific data out there, no matter of its origin, as that would have inspired trust and give you the opportunity to have an overall idea of the problem, to conclude then and make decisions that could be effective, and most importantly, non-threatening to the people you are supposed to serve and care about. This is called common sense. And when common sense is ignored and slandered, there is a problem. I have tried hard to restrain myself, trust you, and give you the benefit of the doubt. But I have reached my limit. The damage to our economy and to the people of this country is enormous. And your persistence to avoid any other point of view does not give me any hope for the future. You have failed us in the worst possible way at a time we really needed you to stand up there responsibly and lead us to safety. Soon, I too could be accused of being a conspiracy theorist. And for what reason? For engaging with common sense in this serious matter. You have given me no other option but to react, voice out my opinion, and present to as many people as possible the information and the evidence from the other side. Ordinary people have lost their jobs, their businesses, their homes. Personal relationships and families have been broken. Freedoms have been restricted, and democracy is not here as we knew it. But it seems that you do not care as long as you retain your prestigious positions and your monthly fat checks. You have shifted your responsibilities to others as you don't want to be liable and just looking out for your self-preservation. You have endorsed this injection for all age groups, including teenagers and kids, though in reality there is no possible way for anyone to know about any possible long-term side effects. Where is common sense to this? Stephen Marshall, Peter Malinauskas, Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and the rest of you. History has shown that people can tolerate so much. And when they are cornered with no more room to step back, they have no other choice but to push forward. History has shown us repeatedly that when dictators took it too far, their fate was sealed by life imprisonment or worse. In future, there will be many of you exposed for mishandling this crisis, for endorsing and enforcing harmful policies that have had devastating effects to the Australian people. You will be held accountable. When this will occur and to what cost to us, I do not know. But be sure, as history has the habit to repeat itself, your time of judgment will come. About me. The last 2 years, I personally too had many losses. Have lost 3 businesses, my home, and a 9-year relationship with a very special person. The closest thing to me now is Simba, my dog. He too has felt the loss of his home and Maria, his favorite person that will spoil him in many ways. Before this crisis and for more than 9 years, both of us were working very hard to achieve the obvious normal things that many people want in life, a business that could offer us economic stability and that we could enjoy. Our plan was to start our own family and live as we wish, freely. But you have taken all this away from me. I am accustomed to work and be active 16 hours a day. As you now have left me with not so much to do, I have decided to devote all my time and energy to go after your jobs, your income and your assets, as you have done this to me. I will continue researching, investigating and sharing important information that could contribute to restrict your freedoms, not in your luxurious homes, but in a prison cell. That's my message to you. To the ordinary people out there watching this video today, I would like to say, though I too have experienced much hardship during this crisis, I have managed to be always present and to contribute to our community in any way I can. The last 2 years, as the majority of these politicians, public officials and health experts have been hiding within their luxurious homes, shutting down society, dictating to us how to live our lives, restricting our income as they are getting paid enormous wages and have been posting pictures on social media of themselves with family members and pets to boost their popularity, pictures at galas and cocktail events to show us how successful they are, announcing projects they have endorsed and being paid by the taxpayers' money, your money, bragging online about their accomplishments. All this at a time due to their actions, mental health and suicides have hit the roof, and livelihoods are being destroyed. The last 2 years, I personally have been out there, in the real world, dealing with the day-to-day problems of our community, alerting and exposing negligence of certain people within positions of authority, to the police, the federal police, the CBS, and to our courts, though I thought they would care. I have engaged personally, looking out for the well-being of our young ones on Hanley Street, have assisted police to apprehend a drunk driver, prevented a possible sexual assault to a young lady that was intoxicated and was being led to an unknown location by 2 men. I have spent personal income for online actions, websites and informative leaflets that have been distributed to our community. Doing all this at a time that in reality I could not afford it, but I did it as I felt it was my duty as a human being. I personally reached out there publicly with open letters to Stephen Marshall, Nicholas Spurrier and Scott Morrison, expressing my concerns on my website stephenkelly.com.au and on my public Facebook page. On the 7th of August 2020, having concerns about the growing division created between the police and the general public, I posted my thoughts and opinion. The police are not to be blamed, trying to contribute to de-escalate the tension that existed. On the 25th of August 2020, I wrote an open letter to the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, as I felt the information that was given at the time about this crisis were not complete and reliable. On the 5th of December 2020, I wrote an open letter to Stephen Marshall and Professor Nicholas Spurrier, as I had contradicting information about the PCR test, asking them to clarify if this PCR test is actually a test or just an RNA amplification process. I had tagged the mainstream media, newspapers, SA Health, SA Police, the Adelaide City Council, the Lord Mayor of Adelaide, Scott Morrison, and other politicians, including Peter Malinauskas. And to my surprise, there was not even one single reaction from them. You would have imagined that serious concerns like this, mid of a crisis, would have been looked at and addressed upon. By them ignoring my concerns, reinforced my opinion that something is very wrong here. In Adelaide, if not corruption, there is much favoritism. I have personally experienced this many times, and for that reason in 2018, I ran for Lord Mayor of Adelaide. The situation in Adelaide now has further escalated as the privileged of the city are using this crisis to their benefit and are resolving their wants and personal dislikes hidden behind this major event. During this time, I have encountered no mercy, no common sense. If I have managed to navigate through all this hardship and still standing here today, it's due to my life experience and that I never give up. Some of the things my father taught me was not to be selfish and always spend some time for the common good, to never underestimate anyone, respect every single person no matter of the social status, to not be afraid to get out of my comfort zone, help people where I can, not to fear to stand up when things do not look right, ask questions, that everything is possible, to expect the unexpected, and that for everything there is a solution. I like to be informed, to research, investigate things in a complex way, seeing them from many different angles, finding multiple solutions for that one problem. At other times, I would see a problem in a more simple way and have discovered that many complex issues can have simple solutions. My friends, the most easiest and simple way for us to get out of this madness and to get back to normal as we knew it is for all of us to vote in the next elections, to get rid of all these people that have harmed us. As they have proven to us, these last 2 years, these politicians are the threat to us and to the future of this country. They must never again be part of any local or federal government. In the past, I too, as many others, have never paid attention to politics, as they seemed boring and a waste of time. But when I realized how politics can affect my life and my freedoms, I started to pay attention. I did my research and I got involved. From what I have observed and the information I have up to today, I have great concerns for all of us for 2022. As this crisis has been handled, there is various directions and outcomes that we can be led to. Just observing what is happening in other countries can give you a glimpse of our future. I'm afraid that we will be in much trouble, and as these politicians are not taking anything else in consideration, society could be shut down and we all could be at their mercy. Whatever you are doing today and any plans you have for tomorrow, forget about them. They are irrelevant, as you now have no control of your lives and your future. You must realize any plans can be shattered in an instant by one single Facebook post by these health experts and politicians. If you want your lives back, vote all of them out and vote in only people that asked questions and had doubts, people with integrity and passion for life as we knew it. The people in charge today are not fit to serve us. They are driving us downhill in a supersonic speed, and at the end of this hill there is a concrete wall that if we hit, that's it, we're done. With these people in charge, we will never get back to normal. We will never get back our freedoms. We will own nothing and we are not going to be happy. Their intentions are clear, for them to own everything and be happy. In their eyes, we're not even worthy to breathe the oxygen around us, as in their perception, it's a waste of a precious resource. You see, these people believe that they are more intelligent and superior than us, and therefore they deserve more, and we deserve nothing. In their eyes, we are the virus. We are the only ones to blame for anything that goes wrong around us, including the climate change. Dear friends, we are in deep trouble. You must be informed and aware of whatever is happening around you. If you don't pay attention now, things will only go to worse. In the near future, we could be all locked up indefinitely, living within the metaverse, forced to live our lives in any way they see fit, with no other option but to obey their every command. We can't trust the Liberals, Labour and Greens party again, as they are all in this together. You cannot even vote for one of them that could have gone against the mainstream narrative, as they are a minority within their own political party. Their opinion will be irrelevant, as they will be outnumbered. If truly there are a few politicians within these three political parties that have gone against the mainstream narrative, they must leave now and join a political party that has the same values as them. In the next government, we need an ordinary people that had real jobs and have lived in our reality, as they are the ones that can understand us, know our needs, and will do what it takes to clean up this mess and get us back to normal. If in any way the Liberals, Labour and Greens form the next government, climate change lockdowns could become reality, and other life-changing events could occur. Whenever you hear about climate change, be vigilant, listen carefully to anything that follows next. Ask questions and research, as they don't disclose the effects that their alleged solutions will have to us as human beings. Don't get me wrong, climate change is a serious event and must be dealt with. But as I have mentioned before, these people take a bit of the truth and they build their own agenda around it. They follow the same pattern with equality, racism and other social issues to motivate us. They manipulate our perception and then they lead us like sheep to the path they want us to go to. So I'm saying this one last time. We cannot trust the Liberal, Labour and Greens party again. If in any way they form the next government, we will never get back to normal. Forget about going out for dinner, to a pub, to a bar, to a nightclub. Forget about celebrations and gatherings, hugging, kissing and dancing. Forget about traveling and your freedoms, as these activities are against their beliefs and their agenda. So please, let's vote in the right people to work for us, and let's go on with our lives. In the meantime, don't panic, stay calm, as for everything there is a solution. Be kind with each other. You must remember that everyone reacts upon the information they have, and this information is censored and well hidden. That's why we need every single one of you to share this video and website, offtherecord.news. Also, if you have the ability to make a donation to support the people that research daily to bring us this information, please do so, as it is very much needed and will be very appreciated. Donations can be made through my website, stephenkelly.com.au. Lastly, if you would like, subscribe to my website and I will keep you posted. Thank you for listening. I will be back soon with my next video. Stephen Kelly.